Avengers Endgame might have been the most overhyped movie in the history of movies. The frenzy surrounding the finale of 11 years of MCU was beyond anything that we have seen in our lifetimes. So I was naturally concerned if the movie will deliver to these astronomical expectations. There was no room for failure. Avengers Endgame takes what Infinity War did to a whole new level. The box office records and the Rotten Tomatoes score just tell a part of that story. Endgame didn't only deliver a record 350 million plus opening weekend in the United States, but also shattered numerous box office records in major international markets like China, UK, Brazil and India. Maybe Avatar will finally be dethroned from the #1 spot in the worldwide box office collections. It would be an understatement to say that Avengers Endgame was a difficult movie to pull off. So kudos to Marvel Studios and the Russo brothers for bringing together such a beautiful movie that works on multiple levels and provides such a satisfying closure to the story arcs of major characters that have been with us for more than a decade. There is so much to love about this movie, but yes, I have a few problems that we will discuss later. If you haven't yet seen the movie, then here is your spoiler alert, as we are going to discuss the plot and go into the detail of the details. Endgame starts a few days after Thanos' snap, and it is Captain Marvel that saves Tony from a sudden death in outer space. She brings Nebula and Tony back to Earth, where they reunite with the rest of the Avengers, namely Captain America, Thor, Rocket, Bruce, Black Widow and Rhodey. The Avengers, except Tony, go to Thanos' farm, where Thanos has been living a life of an ascetic farmer. Avengers hoped to bring back the people who were lost in the decimation with a snap of a finger once they had all the Infinity Stones. But they were in for a rude surprise. Thanos had destroyed all the Infinity Stones, so that what he had done couldn't be undone. Although Avengers didn't get what they were looking for, but this time around, Thanos is defeated and decapitated as Thor goes for the head. With the stones gone, there was no other way to bring back the vanished. Avengers moved on with their lives, or at least tried to. Tony retires on a farm with Pepper Potts, and Captain Marvel goes back to the space. Avengers find themselves in a dystopian world, where they were living their worst fears, and with time, everyone gives up hope. Ant-Man, who had been in the quantum realm since Thanos' snap, returns back to the world, but he finds to his surprise that what should have been 5 hours is actually 5 years. A lot had changed in these 5 years. Tony and Pepper have a daughter, Bruce Banner has solved his issues with the Hulk, and now he is Professor Hulk, with the brain of the Banner and brawn of the Hulk. Captain Marvel and Black Widow have got new haircuts, and Captain America is back to being clean saved, but then there is Thor. To be honest, I was shocked to see Thor and couldn't believe what they had done with the character. In Infinity War, Thor was the OP Avenger who almost killed Thanos, and in the beginning of Endgame, it is Thor who actually kills Thanos. But he considers himself a failure, and all that he had lost in a span of few months had taken a toll on him. Avengers Endgame gives us the most vulnerable Thor, who is struggling to deal with his emotions and the shock of his failure. We are used to seeing Chris Hemsworth in a godlike chiseled physique, but Avengers Endgame continues to reinvent the identity of Thor Odinson. Let me know in the comments what you think about the redefined God of Thunder in Avengers Endgame. With Ant-Man joining the team, Avengers find a new ray of hope, as Scott Lang proposes the idea of time travel to undo Thanos' snap. Professor Hulk tries to make time travel work, but it is Tony who cracks the mystery, and Avengers travel back in time to bring back the Infinity Stones. The rules of time travel in Avengers Endgame are different than what we have seen in most of the time travel movies, be it Back to the Future or Looper. As Professor Hulk explains, that changing the past events won't affect the present. I know it might sound crazy and counterintuitive, since once you go back and kill baby Thanos, there will be no Thanos who snaps the finger, thus everything should be back to normal, but here that's not the case. As killing baby Thanos will not change the present, but rather it will create a new reality where there was no Thanos, and thus no snap and nobody turned to dust. But that reality is a parallel reality and different from the current reality where half of the people turn to dust. If it sounds confusing now, don't worry, I will do another video exploring how time travel works in the MCU and how it led to the ending. So long story short, Avengers divide themselves in 3 teams and jump back in time to get their stones. They return back in the present with all 6 Infinity Stones, but it came at a huge price. Natasha dies at Vormir as Soul Stone required a sacrifice, a soul for a soul. Tony Stark makes a new gauntlet and Hulk puts it on, and with a snap of a finger, he brings back all those who had perished in the decimation, just like that. Hulk even tries to bring Black Widow back, but he isn't able to do so as Red Skull had earlier said that sacrifice for the Soul Stone was irreversible. Whenever there is time travel involved, you get unwanted consequences, things that you couldn't foresee or calculate. The existence of 2 nebulas, when Nebula went back in time with War Machine for the Power Stone, created an undesirable effect, as the memories of 2 nebulas got entangled. That is, the 2014 Nebula who was still with Thanos had the access to the memories of future Nebula. This allows the 2014 Thanos to learn everything that happens in the future, and he finds that he succeeded in his lifelong mission of balancing the universe. But since that balance was under threat, as Avengers were trying to undo his destiny, he decides to travel to the future and confront them for one last time. As Thanos' army invades New York, we get the third act of the movie, which is packed with jaw-dropping moments and heart-touching character reunions. Russos give us the dream shot, where we see most of the MCU heroes in the single sequence, and Captain America finally says, "Avengers assemble." The movie is worth watching twice just for this third act alone, as Captain America lifts Thor's hammer, and Captain Marvel proves why she is the most powerful MCU character. One of the most baddest moments is Scarlet Witch vs Thanos. She alone would have defeated and perhaps even killed Thanos had he not ordered to rain fire. Although all of MCU heroes were fighting Thanos' army, Thanos manages to get hold of the new Infinity Gauntlet and was about to snap his fingers with the motive to kill all of the universe by reducing everything to nothing but just atoms. Even though Captain Marvel almost stops him at the last moment, Thanos manages to fend her off thanks to his incredible presence of mind and the power of the Infinity Stones. It is here that Doctor Strange hints Tony Stark about that one possibility that he saw in Avengers Infinity War where the Avengers win. Tony zaps to Thanos and transfers all of the Infinity Stones from the gauntlet to his armor. Tony is able to do this in a blink, as the new gauntlet was his own creation and he might have had a contingency or an emergency setting built into it. As Tony snaps his fingers, all of Thanos' army, including Thanos, turn to dust. But as we all know, wielding the Infinity Gauntlet can take a toll, and since Tony is a mere mortal, the snap costs him his life. Tony sacrifices himself for the greater good. I know that most of us were expecting Tony to say his goodbyes, but I was expecting him to retire rather than die. But as Thanos says, the hardest choices require the strongest wills. Seeing Tony go was heart-wrenching, and it definitely felt like an end of an era, as we see more than 50 characters paying their homage to the man who had started it all. As if that wasn't it, when Captain America goes back in time to return the Infinity Stones to avoid unwanted parallel realities, he chooses to stay back in 1970s with Peggy Carter, thus bringing his character full circle. The movie closes with the dance that was promised, and I don't think there was a better way to cut to the credits. Marvel have really outdone themselves with the Endgame, and it is going to be a benchmark, and probably it has set a bar too high for the future cinematic finales. Avengers Endgame has changed MCU forever, just like the directors had promised. We lost 3 of the original 6 Avengers, and the rest 3 too have come a long way. Going forward, Thor is likely to be a part of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. As MCU now shifts focus on newer characters like Black Panther, Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel, it seems as if MCU is just getting started, and we hope Marvel continues to deliver astonishing movies in the future too. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and the winners of the giveaways are mentioned in the description. If you are one of them, then congrats, and don't forget to send me the unboxing pic on Instagram. And for the rest of you guys, don't worry, we will be coming with more giveaways as we are just getting started. Once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more upcoming Avengers Endgame videos.